On today's episode of the Hot Mess Crafty Express, find out how I make a sheetload of cards without a paper trimmer and not much adhesive. Hey, it's Beth, and today we have the March 2025 sheetload of cards from Call Me Crafty Owl. I was headed out of town this weekend and didn't get a chance to finish my video or do my video, and so I am filming this in another house in another town, and I have several different papers here from my stash that I'm going to be working with, and some cardstock and the sheet load. And it was at this point that I realized I didn't bring a trimmer. So I had to rack my brain and figure out how I could still make this work. I did have a 5-inch ruler in my little crafty carry bag that I have with me. So I'm scrambling to find that, and I find it and decide that I'm going to, the ruler's not long enough that I can even go across a hole. I think this page is like 8 by 8. So I make marks all the way around based on the pieces that I need to cut. And then I'm going to use a piece of 8.5 by 11 cardstock as my straight edge. And I'm going to attempt to make the sheet load cutting by hand without a trimmer. Don't be like me. Pack your trimmer. Make sure you pack your trimmer. This was painstaking. I realize how much I take my trimmer for granted. I'm going to go home and give it a really big hug. So I managed to get all my pieces cut out, and now I'm going to go ahead and adhere the pattern papers to the card mats. I originally brought that green cardstock, or I'm not adhering it to my card mat, to the individual piece mats. I originally intended that green cardstock to be the card mat, but I'm like, oh, heck no, I am not going to even attempt to try to cut this card mat by hand. So I was going to use the white cardstock as the mat for these pieces. So I switched gears, and I'm now going to be using the green cardstock as the mat and then adhering it to a white card base. So this is a collaboration. Call Me Crafty Out, like the SheetLoad creative team. We all have videos coming out today sharing how we've used the SheetLoad. There is a playlist linked in the description box below. So please click on that and you can watch everybody's video. I'm sure everybody else will have much neater cuts than I will today because they have a trimmer. They are smart enough to have a trimmer with them wherever they are, even if they're not at home. I'm sure they have a trimmer. So yes, please be sure to check that out. This month's sheet load makes 8 cards, and it is for 6x6 pattern paper. I had decided to use some random kind of springy colors from my stash, and so that's why I have like some pieces that I started with were 8 by 8, some were like larger pieces of 12 by 12s that were left over. I just picked 4 that coordinated. So if you're new, Call Me Crafty Owl puts together a PDF every month that has a card sketch, a supply list, and a cutting guide, which makes it super easy for you to make an entire batch of cards. If, however, you decide to only make one card, there are individual measurements for that as well. All that you have to do, I will have the video linked in the description box from Call Me Crafty Owl where she tells you how you can get the sheet load. All you have to do is be a subscriber to her channel. If, however, you decide to support her channel even more by becoming a paid channel member, you do get a lot of great perks and also have access to the vault of archived sheet loads that are like some of the older. She's been doing this for a long time, so there are a lot of sheet loads. So if you're new, you've missed a lot. So I have my pattern paper mounted on all of my cardstock pieces, and now I can actually adhere them to my cards. I realized I probably should have some type of leveling piece here. And so off camera, I finished cutting the 8 pieces I need for this rectangular piece, just since it's hanging off of that larger strip. And here I run out of my ATG tape. I did not remember to pack any extras of those either. I don't know. I think my mind was focused on, we're out of town for a meeting. And so I was kind of more focused on having everything I needed for that. And apparently did not have my mind on the crafty game. So I apologize for the hot mess that is this month's SheetLoad. I will have to redo it and do a better job, pay better honor to this SheetLoad, because it is great. And my cards actually don't turn out that bad. They just were not quite what I had planned. So I pivoted just like Ross on Friends, going up the stairs, everybody carrying the couch. I pivoted. And I hope you can take inspiration. If you are new to card making and you don't have a paper trimmer yet, this is how you can do the SheetLoad. Let me be the one to tell you that. Also, let me be the example of what not to do when you're packing to craft away from home. So luckily I did have, long story short here, I did have my Barely Arts glue with me, but it doesn't have a ton. So I'm praying that it lasts, because it's my last hope. So I'm using it to adhere all of the other pieces down to my card fronts. And the card size, I don't think I said that, is A2. So your normal 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 US card size. So once we get all of these adhered, I can work on sentiments. I did bring stamps, ink, and stamping blocks. So I've stamped out Happy Birthday to You from an old stamp set, I believe from Creative Memories. I think it was Stampin' Up, actually. But I was going to, stamp it on white cardstock and cut it into strips. Well, I can't do that. I didn't want to do that with scissors. So I decided to kind of bubble cut around the sentiment on the white cardstock and then glue it down to the green cardstock and bubble cut around it, kind of doing a matte bubble cut. I don't know that I love it. It gives a little whimsical feel, I guess. Just, again, not what I had planned when I originally started. But I figured out a way to make it work. So we'll get the sentiments glued down on all of these. And my intention was, in making these, I picked some kind of pretty spring colors. I thought I'd do some birthday cards, since Cards for Cubs, the card drive starts March 1st, which was yesterday when you're watching this video. And so I was going to make some cards to donate for Cards for Cubs, and I'm sure they will be appreciated no matter what. So funny, I forgot a trimmer and extra ATG adhesive, but I remembered to grab my bag of enamel dot type embellishments. So there's that. I have various types here. I was just trying to, none of them had enough of the colors that I wanted to use. So I'm just kind of trying to find colors on using one color from each of these packs to add the 3 circle elements that are on the sketch. And then I decided I was going to do a banner up in the top left corner to kind of balance it out or give it a little extra something, but I was not about to hand cut those banners because I knew they would not look straight. So I thought I'd just add some extra enamel dots or gems up there. And then at some point I will go back. I was also going to use the scraps to make some scrap cards, but I'm not going to do that by hand right now. And I'm not going to add anything to the inside until I can go home and use my trimmer to cut some nice straight pieces to go on the inside. So if you're used to watching my videos and you wonder whoa, what'd you do with the scraps? That's why I'm not using them today. So I will finish them off with all of these different enamel dots, and I feel glad and relieved to have found a way to make these work despite my hardships of this video. So again, I apologize for the hot mess that I am. I didn't prepare well, but made it work. So hopefully you got a good laugh and maybe learned how to make the best of things when it doesn't quite go the way you expected. Here's a final look at my 8 cards. Again, please check that playlist to follow all of the other creative team members to see what they made. Especially thank you so much for your time today, and hope you all have a very crafty day.